Hey y'all, this is Astro here. So I'm just getting my life together. So hold on a second, please. Make sure you guys can see me. Okay. Oh, okay now. Hey y'all. What's up? Astro here. I'm hoping you guys could see me well. I'm just not feeling this. Okay, that might be better. But hey, this is Astro here, talking about Venus and Virgo. Um, what I probably should do though, let me actually, I'm gonna flip this. I'm gonna flip this. Ooh, wow, I'm just being a mess right now. Yeah. Hey. So, hi. I'm Astro and I'm going to be talking about Venus and Virgo right now. So Venus and Virgo is going to be happening July 10th through August 7th. So it's a quick and like fast Venus transit, but it's going to be very helpful, especially with all this retrograde energy happening. I know it's like driving y'all crazy. I know it is because it's driving me crazy. So it probably is driving you crazy too. Sorry. Venus in the first, y'all. Gotta fix my hair at all. So let's talk about what Venus and Virgo means exactly. So Venus is more about, wow, this big ass bird just flew over. Okay, sorry. But Venus actually means, represents desires, your love, money, and material worth, but also what you get from what you get from relationships, specifically one-on-one relationships where you really vibe with the person and connect with the person. Now, if we bring Virgo in here, Virgo represents routine and organization, your daily duties, right? So when it comes to things that you desire and you want, which could be money, which could be relationships, could be your self-worth, you're going to be treating it like a beloved chore. You get what I'm saying? You're going to do it in a routine, be very organized, but you're going to love doing it because you know the end result. And even some of the residual results, like while you're doing it, is going to give you some sort of known for being at service all the time, known as the Earth Angels, because they're so willing to help others whenever they need help, right? While Pisces would be more of a spiritual type of angel instead, but that's their Virgo's opposite sign. But Virgos are known as earth angels, always willing to drop everything to help you and try to help you as much as possible. And because they want to help you in the most practical way, they're earth and they're mutable. They can't be perfectionists and always trying to figure out a way to fix things. Like kind of looking at your procedures that you set up and then make it a quick change real quick to make it more perfect. That is why they're known as being perfectionists, because they're always trying to see what's done and make it better, fix it more. Like they're always changing their mind on the practicality of anything that they do. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to be doing that with your desires, with how you make money, with how you with your general. Like if you feel like you've done the things that you do, the practical things that you do to help your family, and you're going to do things to perfect it and make it better. Okay, so it's definitely an interesting energy for sure. When I think about people who are born with Venus and Virgos, they are such pleasers, and you're going to be very much like that too. Okay, it's good to see what house Virgo is in so you can know how this may apply to you. And specifically, if you want a professional like me to do that for you, go in the description box below and I'll be able to figure that out for you. And go to my Etsy shop, order a $15 question, and I got you with that, okay? But anyways, that's kind of like the energy of Virgo and Venus. Working hard, building a routine, being organized. When it kind of create a daily task when it comes to the things that you actually love and desire. Okay, when it comes to love too, when it comes to money, things that you like, that that will make you happy. Um, and that's the thing too, because it's in Venus. Venus makes things fun, makes things lovely. They make things. Venus makes things more pleasant, and so you're gonna find your routines more pleasant. You're gonna find your daily tasks more pleasant. Organizing, you're gonna want to organize, and it's going to make you happy. Okay. Um, and I said this a little bit before, but again, with love, you're going to be the pleaser. You're going to want to make people happy. So this is actually a really good time for relationships, honestly, because you're trying to see what you can do to make things more like work better, to make the person that you're with more happy, or the people that you're with too. It could be polyamorous. Um, So I put in here as the sentence, like wow, a moth is near me. A moth has been following like me and my family, so I guess we're going through a big transformation. Wish us luck, because some people think that moths mean death. I don't want that. But with this is an apple moth, and I know it's like the dead hawk moths that are the death ones, but whatever. So, anyways, the sentence that I have, or the lesson that I have for this Virgo and Venus is, in general, it would be our goal to serve others. It will be to serve others with what will be. Wow, I can't actually read my own handwriting. This is terrible. um, in general, it means that our goal is to serve others, and while we're serving others, we're going to be serving ourselves, because we're going to be actually happy by serving others. You get what I'm saying? Like your daily duties, and some of your daily duties include like your work environment, and you just being at work in general. So you might have some good luck at work too, which is and I've been hearing that a lot, like with me, with the eclipse that's happening in my sixth house, and Virgo being in Venus. I keep hearing like great transformative things for my work. So let's hope that happens, y'all. Okay, so let's go through the houses, right? So houses 1 through 3, like I always mention in all my videos, they represent yourself in general. First house is your appearance and persona and personality. Second house is your self-worth and material worth. And third house is how you communicate and how you talk, and how you in your thinking processes, right? So if Venus is in any of these, you know. I hope they're okay. They're fine. If Venus in Virgo is in your first, second, or third house, it's good. That means that you're going to be more routine, and plus you're going to be like happy with your routine. Sorry, it was reconnecting. So, like I was saying, like you're going to be pleasant with the like your organization, and your like planning, and planning to get to the desires that you want. Is going to be more geared towards yourself, right? Your self-worth, and gears towards how you communicate to others and how your thinking process is, right? And so because Virgo is very it's actually not very if it's in the third house, it's in the house of Gemini, and Gemini's very not very, but it's a Mercury sign as well. I don't know why I'm calling it very. Um, so that if you're Virgo, if you're like Venus Virgo's in the third house, that's lovely, because that's a good manifestation, energy right there. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. If it's in the fourth, fifth, or sixth house, this Venus in Virgo, um, that's going to be more towards, you're going to be like, love, like changing your routine towards the desires that you want. You're going to be that like that towards the people that you see in your everyday life. So fourth house is more about family and home. So it could be your roommates as well. Fifth house is, the people that you hang out with when you're having fun, or your children, um, and or people who are around the things that you are like the around the like ideas that you create. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And then the sixth house is like your work environment because that's ruled by Virgo too. And it could be also just people that you see on an everyday basis. That's definitely sixth house as well. If it's in your seventh, eighth, or ninth, you're gonna have that energy when it comes to people that you choose to be in your life or beliefs that you choose to be in your life. So the seventh house could definitely be romantic relationships, but it could also be, business partnerships as well. But a lot of people see it more romantic relationships. Maybe either your best friend. Eighth house is the person that you emotionally bond with on a deep, deep level. So that's something. And then ninth house is actually philosophical beliefs. So you could be very routine and organized, and you're going to be enjoying it when it comes to like things that you believe on a philosophical level. And then lastly, 10th, 11th, and 12th house. If Venus and Virgo's in there, you're kind of using that energy on a like big, like in a big, like kind of like big groups, if that makes sense, right? Whether the groups are spiritual beings or physical beings, or if it's connected to your reputation, okay? All right. So let's actually go through the decans of this Venus and Virgo too, and kind of give you an idea on how it may play out for you. So the first decan, right, of Venus and Virgo is Mercury. So Venus is ruled by Mercury, and the first decan is Mercury, so it's double Mercury energy happening here. So when it comes to your desires and the things that you want in your life, money, your self worth, and relationships, you're gonna. This is the time where you're gonna be extremely detailed, and you're gonna be extremely organized. You're gonna try to plan things out to make it happen. Okay, and you're gonna actually enjoy doing this. It's gonna be a lot of fun for you. So that's something to look forward to. Usually, when people start the planning process, they get a little bored because they're like, "Oh, I want to actually do it." It's gonna be lovely that you're gonna appreciate this, appreciate the planning process because um, all this retrograde energy is not going to let you do anything really anyway. So just you might as well just enjoy this while it's here, okay? Um, the next decade is Saturn, right? And this is when you start to initiate the things that you've been planning, where you're being more responsible and where you're doing the hard work to make the things happen. Okay, whatever desire that you've been planning on, like applying to your life more. Um, this is when you put these plans into actual action. Okay, it could also develop in a ways where you're starting to be more responsible with the routine, and you're like really like going through fine tooth comb and like making sure it's going to work. But I see definitely what I said before, the prior. Okay, and then lastly, the last decade for Venus and Virgo is Venus, A, right? And so this is when you're getting the reward. You're getting the thing that you desire, that you've been planning for and you've been working hard for. So this is going to be towards like the last week of Venus and Virgo. So it's going to be towards like the first week of August, okay? Last week of July. This is when you're going to finally start getting the reward from all the hard work and all the tough planning that you've been doing, okay? So that's something that you should be looking forward to. Lastly, let's talk about the aspects of Venus and Virgo and how it's going to be applied. So what I usually do when I do this is I look at the degree of Venus and how the planets are looking at the 5th degree, the 15th degree, and the 25th degree of Venus and Virgo, okay? So let's look at the 5th degree. When Venus and Virgo is at 5 degrees Virgo, what's popping off? Um, let's see. So it looks like Venus is going to be sextile Jupiter in Scorpio. And during this time, I think by that time, let me double check. Okay, it's gonna be great. By that time, right, Jupiter's gonna be direct Hey, is that exciting? Jupiter is going to be direct. I think direct at 12 or 13 degrees, right? And so that even brings more ideas, more philosophies, more beliefs and luck into your planning, the planning process that I've been talking about for the first decade, right? And you're going to be really, truly enjoying doing the planning because you're going to connect all these the procedures and the process that you're developing. You're going to be connected to like what you truly believe in. You're going to actually take in other people's ideas, and you're willing to add them into uh, the process or the details or the planning that you've been planning, right? That you've been like writing down and getting organized. um, so you're definitely going to be open to listen to others' ideas. You're going to be doing some research. Um, that's actually a good chance of definitely a lovely opportunity to travel. And while you're traveling, learning more on how you can make this desire, this money, this romantic relationship, how you can get ideas to kind of get it going, okay? Um, the next is Venus will be trining Saturn in Capricorn. So that is lovely energy too, because first of all, you're getting some of the Capricorn energy that you're going to be feeling for the second decan of Virgo, but you're going to get it in the first decan. So that's nice. But with Venus trining Saturn, all that the major heart lessons that you're learning or major life lessons that you're learning about Saturn, um, in Capricorn, which is like, major life lessons with authority and status and recognition, is going to come a little bit smoother. And you're going to start actually receiving a little bit of the rewards. It kind of reminds me of the Nine of Pentacles, how the Nine of Pentacles energy is not the full reward yet, but as you kind of get in a little bit of rewards and you see the other, like the big reward or more of the reward starting to bud. And so you can't quite pick it yet, but you see that it's about to happen soon, right? So it kind of reminds me of that type of energy. So that's dope. And so you're going to also not be afraid of working hard, not being afraid of really putting your nose deep into the whole planning process to make sure everything runs perfectly, and you'll be able to initiate the actual plan once you're ready, okay? And then lastly, at 5 degrees Virgo and Venus, Venus is going to be trining Uranus and Taurus, which is actually really dope energy too, because Uranus is the energy of sudden and random events. Um, oh, don't you're not rude at all. How you doing? Can Angels Fly Tarot? I didn't know you did tarot, so I'm definitely gonna be following you. I'm really excited actually to follow you. I love like following tarot readers. So yay! I'm excited. I can't wait to check you out. um, but yeah, so with Venus is going to be trining Uranus and Taurus. There's actually going to be lovely energy because um, Uranus is in Taurus, so that means like sudden random events, your uniqueness, your individuality, your different ideas. But it's going to be in Taurus, the sign of material worth and the sign of actual, like, money, right? And so it could be cool if it probably will happen if you like probably you're gonna get like random amounts of money just thrown at you. It may be big, it may be small, but money might just randomly pop up with you. With Venus, right? Remember I said Venus rules money. Taurus also rules money because they're together. They're each other's like rulers, right? And so the two planets are actually trining. So I feel like money is about to pop off for you. Actually, it's so funny because this decade when you like Venus is in like 0 degrees, between 0 and 9 degrees, it's more like, all right, you have to start planning, you have to start like kind of building your plan out to get the desires that you want, right? But the thing is that it looks like you're actually still gonna get rewarded for it, just for the effort. You know what I mean? Which is awesome. That energy usually doesn't happen. You usually have to bust your ass during the planning and not get the rewards until later. And it looks like this Venus, you're going to start seeing rewards, or things are going to really start looking promising for you. So that's really exciting. Um, so next, let's look at when Venus is at 15 degrees Virgo. Okay. Um, so again, it's still gonna be sextile in Jupiter. But the Venus is, but the thing is, it's going to be at a different decade, so it's gonna kind of come off different. So instead of like the planning ideas working out lovely and like um, you're like you feel like you're like getting these like awesome different cool ideas from not only your own brain but from different people around you. It's going to be like that, but when it comes to you actually initiating these plans to get the desires that you want. Okay, so you're going to be initiating all the like initiating and like taking action on the plans that you've been making on the desires that you want, and things are going to actually be working out lovely, come working in your favor. And it's just going to work out like nice. Jupiter is the planet of abundance and luck and prosperity and different beliefs. So it's all just going to, you're just going to get that luck and abundance that you deserve from all that hard planning that you've been doing. um but there is kind of a yucky aspect. Venus is going to be square Moon in Sag. Ugh. Okay, so what's going to be happening here is that like you, okay, you're going to be knowing that okay, I need to bust my ass. I need to follow this routine and this procedure and this process that I've been working on to get the desires that I want. But your emotions are not going to be feeling it. You're actually going to be wanting to kind of maybe even quit. You may feel like you're really not in it, like you thought you were in it. Like you might be not as emotionally passionate as you were before. And the reasoning for that is that, the moon, which is your emotions, is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is mutable fire, so Sagittarius is always like, I'm going for this, okay, the well's running dry, or I'm not having that fire and desire that I had with about it before, so I'm just gonna move on to something else. Please do not move on to something else. The moon energy changes so fast. It's like out of a sign within like 2 or 3 days. Okay, keep it pushing. Still remember that like the how hard you work to kind of plan the desires that you want. You want it like the week prior, and know that at the end of the day, like it's going to work in your favor. You're probably just feeling tired because maybe you're not getting the same enthusiasm that you had before, or you don't see the buds growing as much as you used to, or maybe you could just be spoiled and you're like, yeah, the buds are like here, but I still don't see the final product. Like, don't pay attention to your emotions at this time. Just keep it going, because you are going to get something good out of it. You really will. Okay. um so also, Venus is going to be trining Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is saying too that it's showing that there is going to be a huge transformation in your favor. Um, Thank you. There's going to be a huge transformation that's going to be in your favor. The thing is, now I'm thinking about the moon too. The moon may want you to jump out of this situation real quick and fast and in a hurry, just because the transformation, even though in your favor is going to work well, it's going to be too much for you. You might be freaking out. Okay. It's so crazy too, because this eclipse that is happening now is going to be completely opposite to Pluto. So a lot of Pluto energy is like pushing forward, and we're going to get this huge bomb ass transformation. It's going to be working in our favor. It really is. And even though transformation is good, it might be good for us, it still is scary. But just remember, it's going to be bomb. Like, it's going to be fucking trining Pluto. Like, and it's Venus that we're talking about here, right? And so there's a great chance that we could be promoted into something, that we get into a situation where we get more recognition or we get a higher status. um, our career might be booming. Something beautifully is going to be like transforming in our lives. It's just going to be so bomb. And I really have a feeling that it's going to be connected to our work and our career, but it could be connected to anything. Okay. um, so the tricky thing about this aspect though is like, I feel that because Pluto is still going to be retrograde, that the transformation is going to happen at a slower rate, because there's something that is, we're going to have to transform something internally, and then once we like kind of get it internally, it will just boom happen automatically. Okay. I really feel that the transformation is going to definitely happen after Pluto is out of retrograde, but it definitely can happen still while it's in retrograde if we learn the lesson internally. Okay. Lastly, with Venus in 15 degrees of Virgo, um, it's going to be opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Um, that's going to be quite interesting. So, our desires and our wants is going to be quite like earthly bound, right? We're going to be wanting like just simple 3D things. I want money, I want a car, I want like to look a certain way, I want to be a certain way. And we're going to kind of neglect a little bit of our spirituality. Um, and even if we don't, like, we're either going to be neglecting the 3D part and focus on spirituality, or vice versa. um, and so it's tricky with opposite aspects, but one thing I always like to say is you have to learn how to balance both. Balance the 3D stuff and balance the 5D stuff, or the spiritual type of stuff. Because once you kind of balance both and harness both, um, the awesome thing is that like you get more out of both of those areas of your life. You have to call onto your angels and call onto God to get the things in the 3D realm, but you also have to do the work in 3D to really connect with spirituality and the angels and God and your guides. So it's basically you're feeling kind of awkward, like there might be one day where you just focus strictly on 3D and then focus strictly on spirituality, and you're kind of feeling like, I feel like I can't do both. You can do both. And the thing is Venus is in Virgo. You can make this more of a routine for you, so you can learn how to do both. Okay, you're feeling uncomfortable because it's the universe telling you like focus on both. Like don't forget 3D, but also don't forget spirituality. You know what I mean? And like especially since Pisces is in Neptune, like the spirituality aspect is really running in our minds, especially if anyone that's alive right now. The unknown, even if you're not spiritual, the unknown in general is really running strong within our minds. And so even if we want to forget it, we can't. But we live in a 3D, so it's in our face, so we can't forget that either. So it's really tough, but you just have to learn how to balance both of it. And the thing is, since Neptune's in retrograde, again, it's going to be very internal when it comes to spiritual type of energy, um, or the spiritual things. So just know that like don't be, that's the best way to say this. Yeah. It's hard to find a balance too for me. It really is. I'm noticing myself. I'm being more focused on the spiritual side than the 3D. Um, it's really hard to find a balance. It really is. Um, but the thing is, though, with just in general with Neptune retrograde, um, it's kind of telling us like we need to really fine tune our intuition, right? And I can see with Neptune retrograde that like if you're not born while Neptune is retrograding, like it's not in your natal chart, you may feel like you know your intuition's off, or like you're not. It's taking a while for your intuition to like really work well. Um, and it may make you feel like, man, forget spirituality in my intuition or whatever. I'm just gonna be focused on 3D because I know this, I see this, all my five senses are aware of this. You know what I mean? And it's not so hard. And the unknown is supposed to be the unknown. Like, we're not supposed to know everything about the spiritual world. You know what I mean? And so, but we know what's going on in the 3D world for the most part. And so it just, I could see people like saying F 3D, I'm going to focus on spirituality, or F spirituality, I'm going to focus on 3D. You just got to find a way to balance both. And I wish I had the answers. I'm struggling with this myself. um, but yeah, like it's difficult, especially with Neptune retrograde. Like, it's all internal, so we're going to be feeling like a little crazy and delusional at times. But I think we got this. We got this. And then lastly, there was only one aspect I really was able to focus on, like, and it's not even like one of them strong aspects really, but when Venus is in 25 degrees Virgo, it's going to be semi-sextile Mercury retrograde in Leo. And semi-sextile basically is if a planet is within like 30 degrees from another planet, so it's usually in the sign next to it. And semi-sextile is weird because, like, it reminds me of inconjuncts, but not as awkward. Like, when a planet is inconjunct, they're five signs away, so they're not in the same element, they're not in the same modality, or they're not in the same season. But with semi-sextile, they're not in the same element, they're not in the same modality, but they're in the same season, so they sort of get each other. You know what I mean? So like Virgo and Leo, they're both summer planets. They sort of get each other, but they still kind of don't at the same time. And so, and it's funny, like, I forgot what astrologer explained it, but I love how they explained it. It's kind of like a slow annoyance. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like a planet squaring something, or two planets are squaring each other, they're like, you're annoyed by them immediately. Like, they do something, you're like, ugh. You know what I mean? But in conjunct or semi-sextile, they do something and you're like, it's annoying, but all right. Or it may annoy you and you may not even realize it actually annoys you, right? So it's until like later on in the game, it'll be like months later, like, oh, this is so annoying. So that's kind of what semi-sextile and inconjunct reminds me of. But semi-sextile is less than inconjunct because at least they're of the same season, right? But anyways, with semi-sextile Virgo, semi-sextile and Mercury, I'm seeing that you're probably kind of trying your actual like thought processes and like what you're trying to manifest, or what you've been trying to manifest all this time. You're realizing that, like, is that really what I want? You know what I mean? You're kind of like working on something and you're not quite sure if that's what you really wanted. um don't get tripped up because, again, Mercury is retrograding in Leo. And retrogrades, like, your mind's all messed up. Let's just be honest. Your communication's all messed up. Your mind's all messed up. And so the thing that you've been working hard on, it is what you want. You're just feeling a little bit different and awkward right now, just because of the process is taking a long time. Because it's in the third decade too of when we get like the actual gift, or get what the reward from what we've been working so hard on. We could get the reward and we're like, this reward's all right, I guess. You know what I mean? And you feel that is not that special and it's not what you've been really looking for. The thing is, though, you'll realize in the future, after the retrograde's done, after the shadow period of Mercury retrograde's done, you're gonna be like, oh, I actually really needed this. So don't be too down. The reward that you're gonna get from all that hard work is going to be worth it at the end. Okay. So yeah, that is the end of my Venus in Virgo video, I guess. I'm so sorry for all the noises happening. I'm outside. I'm in the hood. People got their little mopeds riding around. Little weird ass small bikes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the end of my video. Please comment, like, yeah, I know she know. I mean, I see that you know what I'm talking about. But all the little weird little bikes that they're riding around, they're like big grown ass men. I'm like, what are you doing? It looks so stupid. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, care, all that good stuff. I have a podcast called My Bed and Astrology, and it's finally on Spotify. It took like straight up 4 months, but it's finally on Spotify. But it's also on almost all the podcast platforms that you could think of. So definitely check that out. I talk about like cool and like different like subjects on astrology that people really don't talk about that often. And I'd love to actually get some feedback and some back and forth and reviews on it. There's a cool thing if you actually listen to it through Anchor. Um, oh, thank you so much, Can Angels Fly. You're so sweet. um, if you like listen to the podcast on Anchor FM, I think you can like record back and like speak with the person on there. I don't know how it works exactly because I haven't used it, but just giving that, that idea out there. And what else? Oh, I have all my social media information on the description box or in the description box, and also my Etsy shops on there too. So much love. Shout out to Can Angels Fly. Did I say your name right? Can Angels Fly Tarot. I hope I did. But let me actually look. Sorry. I'm trying to see your actual comments and it's mad difficult. Yes, Can Angels Fly Tarot. Shout out to you for actually talking and being like I think the only person right now on here. So it was lovely talking to you and much love. And I'm gonna follow you too. Okay, everyone follow Can Angels Fly Tarot, please. All right, see you guys. Peace.